So at this stage we are done cutting out our front pattern panels. We've closed out our neck darts. We have our side piece and we have our side piece. So this center front piece, I'm just going to take a contrast color of pattern paper and then place it on top of the pattern paper. Reason being that I don't want to cover the original line. I mean this style line, I don't want to cover it, so I have to attach the masking tape from the back. Originally I was meant to attach the sewing allowance of plus 0.5 inches from the up all the way to the high waist before connecting to the plus 3 inches on the hemline, but I forgot that, so I went ahead to attach the plus 3 inches. Later on I'll just go ahead and make the correction and attach the plus 0.5 from the bust line all the way to the high waist line. So this is what we're going to do. Go straight to the hemline. Remember we did plus 3 inches at the base. We just go to the base, then we'll mark plus 3 inches and connect straight to the high waist line. So we're going to use a metal rule to do the connection. So we'll go up by 1 inch and connect it straight back to the hemline. The essence of doing this is so that you don't have your lining or the inside of the fabric popping out after stitching. So we go ahead and trim it off. So we're going to do all this attachment for all the pieces. The sides where you have plus 3.5, you add 3.5, you still go up by 1 inch and come out. So we've closed up our neck darts. That neck dart is very important to avoid a bulge effect on the neckline. So we just go ahead and close it up, and yeah, so we have to make sure that we're connecting our plus 3 inches and slanting to the high waistline, because you don't want the high waist to become to look too much. You don't want it to look too big. You don't want to alter the actual measurements on the high waist. That's why you're connecting it there. You want to have a waist cinch effect before the flare proper starts. So we are finished attaching to all the pieces in front. We go over to the pieces at the back. So now we'll start cutting from the center back line. Remember your labeling. Like, your labeling is very important. Don't always trust your brain to remember. So the more you label, the more you remember that this is the detail that is supposed to be here and all that. So the essence of this cutting is cut out the shape, eliminate all the darts. So we are going to attach plus 3.5 to the left while attaching plus 0.5 all the way up. Then we just attach it to all the areas. So the essence of shading this is to know that I'm also going to cut a sequin fabric to place on top of the Ankara fabric. And here we have 3 pieces. We're going to cut 2 of each. So you cut 6 for the back, you cut 6 for the front. You're going to cut all your fabrics. You're going to fold your fabrics and then cut them in pieces. Now look at my patterns already. I've added the plus 0.5 all the way to the high waistline and then spread it. So see how it looks. Also beautiful. This is my fabric, my very beautiful floral fabric, my sequin fabric, my velvet bias, tailor's chalk, pin, and of course my patterns. The reason I prefer to use velvet bias is that it is not stretchy. Okay, so after cutting out the fabrics or the patterns, just use it and cut sequin. That's for the areas I shaded. So to cut my lining, I usually cut out 1 yard of lining, attach medium texture of gum stay to it, and place the patterns on it and cut 2 for each of the patterns. That way it avoids distorting the shape. Also, I get to cut peplum stay for this, as in peplum stay is like the very important ingredient in making this blouse, like extremely important. Reason being that it is the peplum stay that makes it have that standy dramatic effect. If you use Hades gum stay, it will still stand, yeah, but peplum stay just has this, supernaturally beautiful, classy, beautiful effect. So we're going to attach it all the way from the high waistline to the full length hemline of the blouse. We attach it using hot iron, as in very hot iron. The peplum stay has 2 sides. There's a side that is shiny. This shiny side has gum. That's the part that we're going to make to face the lining, and you can see how I placed it. So you now use your hot iron and attach it. So I had to pin it so that I don't get to mix them together. All those bases look alike after you've already attached all this plus 3.5 and everything. So yeah, if you want to increase the length of your back pattern, so that it just has that cute slanty asymmetric effect, you still can. You can increase the depth of the center back, then connect it from the side piece. So remember, this course is for intermediate designers. If you're just starting pattern making for the first time, you can save this video for later, but just know that this course is for intermediates. You need to have known how to make your blouse very well. The course is going to be too long if I start making all the intricacies of iron this one, join this one. I believe by now you already know how to iron, and you already know how to do your normal half-inch seams. So these are all our back pieces. We'll have our 2 center back pieces, 2 side pieces. We're going to join them each center to center, half-inch from the neckline all the way down to the hemline. Then we'll join it to the side piece and we'll still pin. Like, your pin is a very essential tool in this business, so use it very well. So I made sure that I started joining from my shoulder. I'm very particular about that because I don't want any excesses on the shoulder. See, there's no hard feelings with some kind of excesses on the base. They can easily be trimmed off without damage. But you see the shoulder, once you start having excesses there and you start trimming off, it has a general impact on the entire fit of the blouse, and of course we don't want to alter the fit of the blouse, so we just go ahead and join from the shoulder. So this is how you're going to pin: center to center, center to side, side to side, and we join with half inch. So the way you pin this lining is exactly the same way you're going to pin your main fabric. You pin it, you join it. You can see I'm struggling with it. Okay, like the last side piece, you start from down because of that excess we left on the armhole. So you won't necessarily be able to start on the armhole, just start from down. The excess will still be there, but it's just left there as it's just left there in case you need an excess, in case you have a shortage of any kind. So you're going to join your fabric pieces exactly the same way you join your lining. I'm struggling with it, and it is very normal because it's no longer balanced. You've put flare, it's not relaxed, so it will not relax. You struggle with it like this as well. And just go ahead, do your stitching, open seam iron, sprinkle water and iron, and it turns out very nice. So we are gradually coming to the end of this particular video. This is our front piece. Look at the sequin fabric. I've placed it on top of the main fabric. We are going to top stitch it the way you attach lace to your doll face. That's how we're going to attach it. We're going to treat it like lace. So we're going to top stitch it before we now couple the pieces. Look at your lining. See the lining looking so distorted and confused. That's exactly how it should look, because there's an effect you're looking for. Is that imbalance that is going to make that blouse to leave its comfort zone and flare. Okay, so these are the front pieces. I've joined them and it's looking also distorted too, so I have some excess on the base, so I'm going to trim it all the way off and then do the same thing to this other side. The next thing, we're going to join the lining shoulder to shoulder. See for this training, your finishings are B. Make sure if you mark plus half inch, you're using plus half inch. Don't go and start using plus 0.25 inches, because if you do, it's going to accumulate and then you now have so much excesses on your side and you now have to start remeasuring and rechecking. That's not good. Okay, so I forgot to mention, for this I used softest padding inside the front for the front fabric. I didn't really interface the back piece because I didn't want to. My fabric was already thick enough, so I used softest padding. See, so I used it from the neckline all the way to the base. I didn't put any special one around the bust area because I really didn't want that too much padding effect. So this is how it is after coupling the front piece. So we're now going to join shoulder to shoulder using exactly half inch sewing allowance. Make sure you use exactly half inch sewing allowance. It has a general impact on the outfit if you don't. So rejoin front piece to front piece, very important. So after joining, now we're going to mark 1.5 inches zip allowance. After marking it out, we now place our bias, our velvet bias, the 1 inch velvet bias, immediately after the 1.5 inch zip allowance. Pin it and then top stitch. So I also placed this one here to be top stitched. So this is it.